In metaphysics, a universal is what particular things have in common, namely characteristics or qualities. In other words, universals are generalizations whose truths tend to apply on net, though particular exceptions may exist, that are repeatable or recurrent entities that can be instantiated or exemplified by many particular things. For example, suppose there are two chairs in a room, each of which is green. These two chairs both share the quality of being a chair, as well as greenness or the quality of being green. Metaphysicians call this quality that they share a universal. There are three major kinds of qualities or characteristics: types or kinds, properties, and relations. These are all different types of universal. Paradigmatically, universals are abstract, whereas particulars are concrete. However, universals are not necessarily abstract and particulars are not necessarily concrete. For example, one might hold that numbers are particular yet abstract objects. Likewise, some philosophers, such as D.M. Armstrong, consider universals to be concrete. Most do not consider classes to be universals, although some prominent philosophers do, such as John Bigelow. Problem of universals. The problem of universals is an ancient problem in metaphysics about whether universals exist. The problem arises from attempts to account for the phenomenon of similarity or attribute agreement among things. For example, live grass and Granny Smith apples are similar or agree in attribute, namely in having the attribute of greenness. The issue is how to account for this sort of agreement in attribute among things. There are many philosophical positions regarding universals. Taking beauty as an example, three positions are: idealism or conceptualism. Beauty is a property constructed in the mind, so exists only in descriptions of things. Platonic realism. Beauty is a property that exists in an ideal form independently of any mind or description. Aristotelian realism. Beauty is a property that only exists when beautiful things exist. Taking a broader view, the main positions are generally considered to classifiable as realism, nominalism, and idealism. Realists posit the existence of independent, abstract universals to account for attribute agreement. Nominalists deny that universals exist, claiming that they are not necessary to explain attribute agreement. Conceptualists posit that universals exist only in the mind, or when conceptualized, denying the independent existence of universals. Complications which arise include the implications of language use and the complexity of relating language to ontology. Particular. A universal may have instances, known as its particulars. For example, the type dog is a universal, as are the property red and the relation betweenness. Any particular dog, red thing, or object that is between other things is not a universal, however, but is an instance of a universal. That is, a universal type, property, or relation inheres in a particular object. Platonic realism. Platonic realism holds universals to be the reference of general terms, such as the abstract, non-physical, non-mental entities to which words like sameness, circularity, and beauty refer. Particulars are the reference of proper names, like Fido, or of definite descriptions that identify single objects, like the phrase, "that bed over there." Other metaphysical theories may use the terminology of universals to describe physical entities. Plato's examples of what we might today call universals included mathematical and geometrical ideas such as a circle and natural numbers as universals. Plato's views on universals did, however, vary across several different discussions. In some cases, Plato spoke as if the perfect circle functioned as the form or blueprint for all copies and for the word definition of circle. In other discussions, Plato describes particulars as participating in the associated universal. Contemporary realists agree with the thesis that universals are multiply exemplifiable entities. Examples include by D. M. Armstrong, Nicholas Walterstorff, Reinhard Grossman, Michael Liu. I-nominalism. Nominalists hold that universals are not real mind-independent entities but either merely concepts or merely names. Nominalists typically argue that properties are abstract particulars rather than universals. J. P. Moreland distinguishes between extreme and moderate nominalism. Examples of nominalists include the medieval philosophers Rosellin of Compiègne and William of Ockham, and contemporary philosophers W. V. O. Quine, Wilfrid Sellers, D. C. Williams, and Keith Campbell. Necessity-Wayhood principle. The necessity-Wayhood principle is used mainly by English-speaking philosophers to generate convenient, concise names for universals or properties. According to the necessity-Wayhood principle, a name for any universal may be formed that is distinctive of left-handers, may be formed by taking the predicate left-handed and adding ness, which yields the name left-handedness. The principle is most helpful in cases where there is not an established or standard name of the universal in ordinary English usage. What is the name of the universal distinctive of chairs? Chair, in English, is used not only as a subject, but also as a predicate. So to generate a name for the universal distinctive of chairs, take the predicate chair and add ness, which yields chairness.